can't gamble with love. When it comes to star-crossed lovers, it never ends well.
Welcome back to Semana Spokes.
Semana Spokes is the platform where Wananchi engage, query the government, and the government responds. It's your time to be informed. Don't miss Bonga na Gava every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Semana Spokes.
We live in a generation where we love trends, we love vibes, we love following what is happening on social media, on TikTok. What is vibe? When you hear the word vibe, what do you really think about?
It's very much being in your comfort zone to me. It's a feeling that is enjoyable for you in the situation that you're in.
Yes, something can feel right, can feel fun. Kenye umesema, and not be right. Yes.
Whenever you find yourself questioning a specific trend, I think that's your conscience telling you this is not right.
Yes, hello. Naongea na Jen.
Naongea na nani?
Yes, Jen. Tuko hapa kwako tunakata stima. Hii bili yako hujalipa.
Kwani mnakata stima on a Friday afternoon?
Yes, madam. Tunafanya kazi kila siku. Lakini usikuwe na wasiwasi. Hapa tunaweza saidia.
When the deal is too good, think twice.
Lakini kitu moja inanishangaza na wewe.
Hii ni kuhatarisha maisha yenu nyi wenyewe na pia ya wale mnaenda kutokea kwa manyumba zao.
We are diving into the mind. Stay vigilant to get safely and legally connected to the power grid.
Koti hii imewapata na hatia, na mkiwa mkuridhika na uamuzi wa koti, mko na siku 14 za kurudisha apili.
Na kama kuna mtu anakupigia akidai ati kwamba uko na deni, kata hiyo simu haraka.
Kumbe mlikuwa mnataka tu mnione.
Tumekuja kuwashika. Buda boss utamulikwa. Tumekuja kuwashika.
Good afternoon and welcome to our bulletin. At this hour, we have a lot of grounds to cover for you this afternoon, so talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim, and of course you'll get to know the sign language interpreter in just a few. But for now, here are some of the stories making headlines at this hour. Christian faithfuls across the country marked Ash Wednesday, symbolizing the start of the 40-day Lenten season, a period of prayer, fasting and giving. At St. Anne and Joachim Catholic Church in Riara Parish, hundreds of believers gathered for Mass with a call for national unity, compassion and support for drought-affected families. Our reporter Aaron Marie has the details.
Hundreds of Catholic faithful stream into St. Anne and Joachim Catholic Church in Riara from the early hours of the morning to mark Ash Wednesday, a significant day in the Christian calendar that ushers in the Lenten season. During the solemn celebration, the faithful received ashes on their forehead in the form of a cross, symbolizing repentance and the suffering of Jesus Christ during his 40 days of fasting and prayer in the wilderness.
It is a time to come back to the Lord and also to reunite ourselves with our brothers and sisters.
While urging believers to renew their spiritual journey, Parish Priest Father Paul Maichuhue called for prayers for the nation, saying the current political and social climate requires divine intervention.
It is time even for all of us, including those who are in leadership, to listen to the word of the Lord that is inviting us to change our ways and to come back to the Lord.
The clergy also challenged Christians to extend a helping hand to vulnerable members of the society, especially those in drought-stricken counties.
We have also been called for a season of fasting, and when we fast, we ensure that what we fast and what we are able to save, we are able also to help those who are in need.
Church leaders reminded the faithful that Lent is a sacred season for spiritual renewal, sacrifice and commitment to building a just and compassionate society. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Aaron Marie.
And in other news, Kitui County Commissioner Erastus Mbui has condemned the killing of an elderly man following clashes linked to sand harvesting in Mwingi. The incident occurred during protest against sand harvesting, where a controversial left one person dead and several others injured. Mbui warned stern action will be taken against those found culpable, urging residents to cooperate with security agencies during investigations. He also urged the National Environment Management Authority (NEMA) and the county government's Environment Department to strengthen regulations of sand harvesting to prevent future conflicts.
Amani pia ni muhimu katika kila ambacho tunafanya. Ni dhahiri kwamba hili ni jambo ambalo alingetokea kama kweli walihusisha vyombo vya usalama mapema. Maafa ambayo tulipata kwa kweli hayangekuwa, na ndiposa natoa mwito kwa wananchi kokote katika Kitui County mahali wako na misoso yao waweze kuwafikia ofisi zetu zile ziko kwa ground, ikiwa ni ngao ama maafisa wa polisi ama vyombo vyote vile vinahusika katika kusimamia masuala ya mchanga yako na county government, na pia NEMA inahusika pakubwa. Ningetoa mwito kila mhusika aweze kuwa mtulivu, na labda hali ikitulia tutaweza kuwa pia na kikao ili kuweza kusuluhisha yale mashinda wako nayo ambayo yalisababisha hiyo vurugu kutokea.
Elsewhere, efforts to end harmful cultural practices in northern Kenya received a boost today as elders from the Samburu and Agabra communities held a joint meeting in Samburu County to deliberate on ways of stopping female genital mutilation and early marriages. Now, a representative from a non-governmental organization, Frederick Asiko, noted that Samburu elders have already put in place strict community rules banning the practices and invited their Agabra counterparts to benchmark on the same. The leaders called for sustained collaboration among elders and the government and partners to protect the rights of children and promote education for the girl child.
Tukiungana pamoja, ile joint effort tutafanya pamoja na washikadau wote, serikali kuu, serikali county, mashirika yasiyokuwa ya serikali kama World Vision, na hasa hii Dream Big ambayo imeanzishwa, inajua vizuri tutakuwa na impact kubwa sana.
Then we are looking at us being able to reduce it by either 10% or 15%. We have had a presence in Samburu for now 5 years, and this has made us have progress when it comes to addressing child marriage.
Now, a family from the Karen village in Homa Bay County is mourning the death of a 42-year-old Kristomo Tieno Nyango, who drowned after being swept away by floodwaters while attempting to cross River Nyaliech. Now, the deceased, who was a security guard at the Kadienge Level 4 hospital, is said to have left home on Saturday morning for work not to return. Locals claim the river has claimed several lives.
Tulikuwa tunamtarajia Saturday jioni juu walikuwa nafanya day shift. Ilipofika Saturday jioni hatukumuona, mvua ilinyesha sana siku hiyo Saturday. Sasa tulidhania kupitia kwa bibi yake ati pengine alikuwa amelala nje kulingana na vile mvua ilinyesha. Tulianza mambo ya kumtafuta siku ya Sunday tukamtafuta jana Monday, alafu leo tukampata akiwa hapo kingo ya mto.
That place has killed our people, 7 people now. And the work was done with a fully qualified engineers. So we don't know how they are supervising this work. People are just taking money and they are doing sorry jobs. So we are requesting the government, please, let us not have any death at that spot again.
A suspected illicit brew distiller who has been on the police radar has been arrested in Bangladesh, Jammu sub-county in Mombasa County as the police intensify the crackdown on illegal alcohol. Thousands of liters of illicit liquor were seized and destroyed during the operation. The crackdown follows a directive from the national government ordering the elimination of illicit alcohol and narcotics across the country. According to Jammu Sub-County Police Commander, that is Selina Churchur, more than 1,000 litres have been confiscated in the past week following intelligence reports from the public. Authorities have appealed to parents to closely monitor their children during the ongoing half-term break.
Tunawaambia kwamba waache kufundisha watoto wakiwa wachanga hii tabia ya kuuza chang'aa, because watoto wako na maisha yao ya baadaye. Wao wako na maisha yao na walifundishwa na wazazi wao maisha yao, na wao waachie watoto wagrow kama children, wagrow kama watoto, wasome na wakuwe watu wakubwa, wapate kujua maisha yao ni nini baadaye. Sub-county team na askari wake wote na ngao yote tumekutana tufanye na tuendeleze hii kazi mpaka tutakapomaliza. Hata kama hatutamaliza, at least tumewapiga wakafika samaliza mpaka hata wenyewe wataweka mikono juu. Na hiyo tunawapromise kwamba tutafanya hiyo kazi mpaka wenyewe wasarende.
Now, Muslim leaders are calling on the political class to stop perpetuating divisive politics that is causing harm and disunity in the country. Speaking at the start of Ramadan, the leaders instead urge leaders to preach peace and unity and put aside their differences and focus on building the nation.
Sote ni wana wa Adam na sisi sote tunaishi ndani ya nchi hii. Kwa hivyo tusiharibu nchi kwa miadili yoyote. Tusiharibu nchi kwa msingi wa dini au kabila au lolote. Sote ni wa Kenya na sote ni wana wa Mungu.
Na wasi viongozi wetu wa kidini, wa siasa na kijamii wasitenganishe jamii hizi, wajenge undugu wao na wajenge mbinu mbadala ya kutatua matatizo yao kama wanafamilia wanavyofanya.
Well, we do apologize for that technical glitch, and also Ramadan Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. But for now, we need to get an update from Turkana, where over 350,000 households in Turkana County are on the brink as drought continues to wreak havoc in the vast region. Children in the area are facing malnutrition, and the Red Cross Society is warning of a humanitarian catastrophe in the coming days if no interventions are put in place. Joining us is our very own Simon Achola. Simon, good afternoon. If you can hear me, what more can you tell us about Turkana?
Good afternoon, Aziz, Hashim. Indeed, about 350,000 households here in Turkana County are on the brink, and that is according to the Red Cross Society of Kenya. Of course, just telling us exactly what is happening here in Turkana County. The other thing they're also telling us is that the young children between the ages of 5 and below and going all the way up until 10 are also in danger. And they're saying that malnutrition is actually real here in Turkana County, and there's something that needs to be done. Now, yesterday we did a number of spot checks in various parts of this county, and specifically specifically we went to Loima, and the situation was not encouraging Aziz. And then we also went to a place called Napolelilim, and of course, according to the locals, Napolelilim is essentially means that it is a place, a cold place. And yesterday it was extremely hot in that particular place, and what we saw was that women were struggling to try and find water, whereas animal and anyone else in that particular community was actually trying as much as they can to try and find where they can actually get water. And forget about even food, because food is something that they actually told us that they see it probably once or twice, once in 3 or 4 days. And that is exactly what is happening here today. That situation on the ground, Hashim, corroborates with what the Red Cross Society county manager here in Turkana County, Rukia Abakar, told us that indeed if something is not done in the next coming few days, then indeed this county, and of course though the 350,000 households that are on the brink in this county are likely to face even worse situation. The other thing that we've actually been told is that for the last 1 year or so, this county has not seen any rain that is worth mentioning. They say that there are flashes of showers that come that cannot even sustain the growth of grass the following day or 3 or 4 days after. And the locals were saying that the last time they saw rainfall in this region was many months back, and they're saying that specifically the last time they saw rainfall in Turkana County was actually in October last year. So that is exactly what is happening, and of course we'll be compiling a number of the stories that we've actually found on the ground. We've talked to a number of people that have actually lost their loved ones. We've talked to people that have actually lost their livestock. Hashim, yesterday in Loima, we went to a specific Manyata where we found they had actually slaughtered 15 goats, and that in itself is not by wish, but what had happened is that they actually saw agonizingly their goats die one by one. And the family told me that they had around 150 goats in the just one or so years back. And as we speak right now, there's only just one that was actually remaining. The other kids that are actually hovering around were actually their kids that are rummaging on whatever little that they could actually find. And that is what is happening here in Turkana County. And we'll be filing a comprehensive story in our subsequent bulletin, so that then you can actually get to see exactly what is happening here in Turkana County. And before I go, Hashim, the other story that was actually touching was over 23-year girl that we met in Loima, and she told us that she's a mother of 4. And what happened is that she went out looking for food after having starved for about 2 or 3 days. And when she came back, her son had actually passed on. And those are the stories that you're actually documenting here in Turkana County. And be rest assured that in the evening, of course, you'll get a comprehensive bulletin of exactly what is happening here in Turkana County. Back to you, Hashim.
Well, thank you so much. That is our very own Simon Ochola just giving us a stark revelations there from Turkana. He has been transversing that great county and will be filing a story for us in our subsequent bulletins. We're also keeping tabs on developments in Kitui. We do have Okware and John Jacob Kere who are there, Tana River. You saw the stark revelations also in Tana River yesterday by Kasichana Masha. We're keeping tabs on how this drought situation is developing across the Asal region, and we'll be telling you more. And of course, right now you can see, as I told you earlier on, our very own John Jacob Kira joins us. John, if you can hear me, good afternoon. Yesterday you painted a picture for us in one of the regions in Kitui. What do you have for us today?
Thank you very much, Abdiaziz Hashim, back at Broadcasting House. We are in Mwingi, and particularly Mwingi Central constituency of Kitui County. This is among the 8 counties that are in 8 constituencies that form part of, or rather form Kitui County. One of the most affected constituencies, according to the County Commissioner, Erastus Mboi, is Mwingi North, which is kilometers away from here. And then Mwingi Central is also affected with a significant number of people in dire need of relief and aid from government. You also have the constituencies of Kitui South as well as Kitui East. Generally, the county of Kitui, according to the county commissioner, with 8 constituencies, have a considerable number of people who are in dire need, and each constituency has its own needs in terms of what it needs, whether it is pasture for animals, because areas like Kitui South or so are much more pastoral as compared to other areas that you would say are more agro, and therefore each constituency has its own need in terms of either relief in terms of food or pasture for animals, even as the problem of water, the scarcity of water aggravates across the county. According to the county commissioner, you have approximately 200,000 people in dire need of relief from government, but then again says interventions from the month of November, owing to the failed rains, short rains period, there was need for intervention by government to ensure that these people receive relief food as well as even animal feed, particularly for animals that are struggling in terms of pasture. And that has been in consistent supply from the month of November, and then there was another supply that was done in the month of January, and says these are interventions that will keep making up until the situation has stabilized. Interestingly, from where I'm standing, I can see clouds form over Mwingi town, which probably could be a good sign that probably rains will come eventually in this part of the county of Kitui, because I can see clouds forming, which probably could mean then that the rains could start here. But then again, the question, of course, obviously moves from, is it just rains or sufficient rains? Because these are long rains, and the expectation, therefore, particularly for farmers, is that once they're sustained, they will be able to plant and then harvest, and then you can say that this region is out of danger in terms of the humanitarian crisis unfolding. But as it is, the question obviously now moves from, is it rain or sufficient rain? But yet, there's no drop just yet. Because I understand you're drenching in rain in Nairobi, there's not just yet a drop in this part of the Republic, even as you stare at what is unfolding, being a humanitarian crisis. I want my camera person to show you just a bit of lands that are really were tilled long ago, and of course there are some plantations, but then failure in terms of crop yield or just didn't mature up to get the point of resolving the food crisis from what you can be able to see. This is Mwingi Central, and actually according to what the county commissioner has told us, this is not more aggravated as compared to the area of Mwingi North that appears to have the crux of a number of people who are in dire need in terms of food supplies as well as pasture for livestock, and that comes in terms of water. And I think part of what the government has not been able to solve completely really is ensuring that indeed there is sufficient food also for animals. You remember in past incidents we've had government encouraging farmers to allow the uptake of animals, particularly to go towards the Kenya Meat Commission, and probably then that livestock offtake gives them some form of revenue in terms of payment for the animals that are in grave danger of death if they are not fed or if they don't get sufficient water. So at this stage is obviously an intervention the government will be looking at, because yesterday we found actually a market in some place called Muda in Kitui South, where it's a big market for offtake, and particularly when businessmen then come there and are able to buy, even though the prices are not really sufficient for the farmers. But then again, it's where the farmer has to balance between holding on to your livestock and selling them off, particularly so that it doesn't become a general loss. And we continue to monitor the situation here. We'll be telling you comprehensively later, of course, about the response by government and showing you how the situation is in Kitui County. For now, I want to hand you back to Abdiaziz Hashim in Broadcasting House. Thank you. Of course, we'll be catching up a little bit later in our subsequent bulletins.
Well, thank you very much. That is our senior reporter. That is John Jacob Kero, is just giving us a status update from Kitui. Well, you have just heard from Turkana. You have heard from Kitui. I want to take you now to Tana River, where we're being joined by our very own, that is Kasichana Masha, just to bring us up to speed on the situation in Tana River. Kasichana, good afternoon. If you can hear me, kindly bring us up to speed with the drought situation in that particular area. We get a hold of our very own Kasichana Masha. Will be crossing over there. Also, we'll be getting a status update of Wajir. Now, I do understand we have Kasichana Masha. Kasichana, once more, good afternoon. If you can hear me, paint the picture for us of the drought situation in Tana River.
I don't want to show it. Referring to a few. Afternoon, Abdiaziz Hashim. I'm coming to you live from Tana River County. This is a village called Ngao within Tana Delta constituency within Tana River County. We are in one of the farms that belong to one of the residents or a section of the residents, especially the youth who had taken this section just to do agro-business activities within this farm. But the youth have been unable to continue with their practice. Why? Because of the elephants that have been roaming about in search of water, in search of food within this area. But with me here, I'm joined with a section of the youth that just to give us or to paint a picture of whatever is happening within their area, what the complaint is, where the elephant they think they come from, and what they really need from this area, and how has that even affected the activities within this region. Habari yako, karibu sana, utajitambulisha jina lako, alafu tuambie hiki kiathiri vipi nyinyi kama vijana katika eneo hili. Nitakushikia.
Okay. I'm Bonase Mishedrak from Ngao village. I'm one of the faces, that is Farmer Service Center, that were selected by WFP because of farming. As a farmer, as a lead farmer, I managed to bring like 65 youth to the ground. As you can see, I'm on the farm. This farm was a model farm for the youth. We came together after our exams in the colleges and universities. We formed a CBO, and we decided that so long as our job opportunities are few, we'll come together, form a CBO, start the agribusiness. After we've embarked on agribusiness things, we planted tomatoes all over this place, 1 acre. And we had other 16 acres of land, which we had a plan of planting, that is the cereals. After a short period of time, when our crops were about to mature, we experienced elephants invasion. And the opinion, it is that due to climate change, the elephants were forced to come this way. Number one, there are so many people who cut down trees and burn charcoal in the upper region of Tana Delta, because we have the upper region where most of the times wildlife lives there. And the cut down of trees have caused for the dryness of the water holding these elephants to move to our farms in search of water and pasture. So as you can see, mango trees have been destroyed, and you can see in form of animal control. To me, because we have beehive over there. Does the mango
Well, we do apologize for that technical glitch. That is our very own Kasichana Masha just talking to the youth who have been affected by drought. They were selected by WFP to conduct farming in that particular region. Now, due to the adverse effects of Mother Nature, they are unable to do so. We have heard now from Tana River. Before we get a hold back of Kasichana Masha, let's head over to Wajir. We're being joined by Yusuf Farah. Yusuf, good afternoon. If you can hear us, kindly tell us in Wajir how the situation is when it comes to the drought situation.
Good afternoon. We're coming to you live from Kahira Primary School, which is in Wajir East constituency. And what is currently happening right now is there's a water truck that has just delivered water at the area underground tank that is supposed to be serving this school. And this is just part of the interventions that are being done to ensure that the learners in this area stay in school. We know one of the reasons why the county has been recording number of dropouts is because the ongoing drought is there and it's prevailing, and this is forcing many people, this being a major pastoralist area, many families resort to moving out of their homes to go and look for pasture and food for their animals, and of course the learners end up being affected. So right about now I'm going to have a word with the school principal to talk to us about the situation of the drought in this area and how it has affected the learning institution and of course the number of learners. Good afternoon, mwalimu mkuu. Karibu kwanza na majibu za kiangazi eneo hili limewadhuru kiasi kipi?
Okay, kwa jina naitwa Mahmud Ibrahim Abdi. Mimi ni mwalimu mkuu wa hii shule ya Kahira, Kahira Primary and Junior School. Ukame kama imeadhiri sana. Really the drought has affected the region severely. As you know, the people in this region most of them are pastoral communities, and they depend on livestock. Mostly they depend on livestock, and most of the livestock have perished. This has forced some of their parents to move with their children across the border, some of them, and it has really affected the school negatively because some of the learners have dropped out of school in search of pasture and water.
Given that this is an intervention that has been brought, of course, what does this do in terms of keeping the learners in school now that at least there is water available?
We hope now, as we received water from the county government of Wajir, now we hope that this will going to retain the learners. As now there's water is now available, we hope that this will retain the learners in school.
Thank you very much, Principal. Tumeshukuru sana. Now let me speak to a representative of the county to tell us about the interventions that are being done here to ensure that the learners remain in school amidst the ongoing drought. Good afternoon. Let's start with your name and then tell us what you do.
Thank you very much. My name is Honorable Issa Garore. I'm the County Executive Committee member for Water Services Wajir County. Surely we're in a very bad drought situation all over the county. Wajir County, which as very many people know, is a very vast county that covers approximately 56,000 kilometers square, and it is all the 6 sub-constituencies that this drought has been experienced. It is actually devastating, affecting almost all sectors: schools, hospitals, the local communities, the livestock. Every part of the county is being affected by this drought immensely, actually. As a Department of Water Services and the County Government of Wajir, under the leadership of His Excellency Ahmed Abdullahi, we are able to undertake a number of interventions. Currently, we have close to about 154 centers that we are doing the water tracking to ensure that people, at least in various centers who have no water, are able to get the precious commodity. This is the water. We normally say water is life, and that is why we have come up with a proper intervention so that these areas are normally covered. We also have schools where learners are being getting also bit of the drought, and that we're supposed to be supporting for purpose of retention for the learners in schools. The hospitals, also most of our hospitals, are also affected by this current drought situation, and we are also trying to put intervention in having water being made available to our health centers, our dispensaries all over the county. Certainly a number of interventions have already also been undertaken. We are also trying to put some emergency boreholes in certain strategic places to make sure that we are able to have underground water, so that we try to release burden of the water tracking itself, which is also a very, very expensive venture in itself. Yeah.
There you've had it, on one side is the situation, which is the biting drought, and on the other side is the interventions that are being done by the county government to ensure that the learners remain in school even as the county continues experiencing the drought that of course is being experienced in other parts of the country as well. So we'll be able to follow subsequent stories in the bulletins later, but for now let me bring it back to you in studio.
Well, thank you so much. That is our very own Yusuf Farah just giving us a status update from Wajir. You've heard from Kitui, Turkana, Tana River, Wajir, and all our reporters will be filing that particular story at the end of the day. But it sets a precursor for a themed bulletin on Thursday where we'll be looking at the drought situation here in the country. A bulletin you do not want to miss. But for now, we're taking a short breather. We'll be back with more. Don't go too far.
Spring Festival, with its origins in the last days of winter thousands of years ago, when every family lit a welcoming fire. Today, that welcome is brought to the stage of the CMG Spring Festival Gala. This is where it gets cool. When the future meets timeless Eastern aesthetics. This is where we feel the warmth. When every voice has a story to tell, and every voice is heard. And this is where the celebrations heat up. When the excitement blazes across mountains and seas. In China, around the world, wherever you are, when the CMG Spring Festival Gala begins, you are coming home.
The wrath of Mother Nature. 10 counties are on the brink, with over 10 million people in need of food aid. Livestock is dying, and children are being driven out of schools as drought batters the nation. We go beyond the headlines with reporters on the ground in Turkana, Wajir, Tana River, and Kitui counties for an in-depth look at the evolving humanitarian, economic, and environmental impact on communities across the country. Tune in to KBC Channel 1 on Thursday, the 19th February for a comprehensive news coverage on the drought situation in the country.
When did you start to marry kids?
When did I start?
When did you start to marry kids?
I don't marry kids. I marry mature women.
Who brought you that child, my daughter?
Who brought you that my daughter?
Hey, who brought you? Wewe ndio unachifanya vile unachua sana.
Sijifanyi.
Wewe ni pipi yangu.
Arda.
Anakuuliza wewe ni pipi yangu.
Mimi siwezi kuwa bibi yako.
Very good. Kuna mtoto yako tulipeana.
Si ni wewe ulikula deposit ya mtoto.
Si wewe na hiyo mtoto yako ukiniambia tuoze huu mtoto tupate pesa.
Mimi saa ngapi?
Kawela.
Mwezi mimi wangu atarake muntoke ngakiringangu.
Wewe mzee, mko na watoto wangapi? Wewe na huyu bibi yako?
Mwezi mtuko na watoto nani?
Na
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to political scenes where former Chief Justice David Maraga has condemned the use of force by the police to disrupt opposition rallies, saying it is an attack on democracy and freedom of assembly. Separately, in Garissa, political alignments for the governor's seat in 2027 continue to take shape, with the Senator Mohammed Yusuf Haji receiving the nod from his clan to contest for the said seat. Here are the details of their stories and others shaping the political scene.
Politics continue to take center stage with United Green Movement presidential candidate David Maraga pitching tent in Embu town. He unveiled the party's candidate Kennedy Njeru, who will contest for the Evurore ward by-election in Embu North constituency. It is here that he's faulted the disruption of political rallies.
Ile rally ya Kitengela. Muliona ile news clips. Kulikuwa na furugu yoyote. Hakukukuwa na furugu yoyote mpaka polisi wakaenda huko wakatupa tear gas. What was the cause of they just wanted to disperse the rally?
And in Garissa County, Senator Mohamed Yusuf Haji has been endorsed by Heisa Mwadhal clan to contest for Garissa governor seat. He joins the list of other aspirants who are eyeing the seat, including former Governor Ali Korane and former Lagdar MP Mohamed Shidiye.
The sole candidate announced by Sultan Hassan Umar Shouriye for the candidate of gubernatorial position for Garissa 2027 is none other than Abdul Qadir Mohamed Yusuf Haji.
And in Migori County, a section of MCs have condemned the clash between supporters of Governor Chiloayako and Peter Masara, describing it as a disgrace to the county.
When a sitting governor visited a market to inspect the ongoing market, any other leader cannot purport to threaten or to warn governor not to visit a market.
Meanwhile, Narok County Assembly has approved 3 positions to represent interests of the minority.
Hatutakuwa compromised na ninaomba viongozi wenzangu tufanye kazi kwa pamoja ili tuweze kuleta mabadiliko.
Give us Maina, Lunchtime News.
Residents of Nairobi will continue to miss medical services in the county hospitals after health workers announced that they are not ready to resume duty unless the county government listens and acts on their grievances. Speaking during a peaceful march to the governor's office, the healthcare workers strongly condemned the county governor Johnson Sakaja, accusing them of avoiding them whenever they seek dialogue.
We will continue with these demos, and we are going to up our game. Yes. We will do even night vigils outside your office until Nairobians and Kenyans get what they deserve.
To the governor, I want to tell him that he sent us, his officers, to come and sit with us and negotiate. However, they have run away from the table, and the law is very clear how 2 parties that are in dispute are supposed to end a stalemate like this.
A children's rescue center in Thika Town is counting losses following an inferno that caused infrastructural damage. The fire is reported to have started when the children were at school, with no casualties reported. Now, speaking after inspecting the damage, Principal Secretary in the Department of Child Welfare Services, Karen Angendo, said that the incident shows the urgent need for the county government and various institutions to strengthen fire preparedness and improve emergency systems.
The children were out there, they had gone to school, and so all the children that are living here, 44 of them, are safe. We have found the whole building, all the mattresses, all the clothes for the children are burnt down. My appeal to all county governments that we need to have fire extinguishers and response rate that can be very quick to be able to save situations and not just having a whole building going down, like what has happened today.
When we have our security officers with us here, they are still investigating to know what caused the fire. This facility need new infrastructure. They need new dormitories, they need new classrooms, they need a borehole, they need all the facilities that we can be able to offer.
Over 2,000 learners with disabilities from 847 educational institutions across 47 counties have benefited from a scholarship worth 59.27 million shillings, courtesy of the Ustawi Scholarship Program. The scholarship, dispersed from the National Council of People with Disabilities, will cater for fees of the vulnerable group from primary to the tertiary level, while handing over the scholarship check in Nairobi, NCPWD Chief Executive Officer Dr. Michael Monene called upon more stakeholders to come on board and support the program that will in turn help more learners. This even as they hailed the 2025 Persons with Disabilities Act that provides a legal provision on free, inclusive and compulsory basic education.
We select students.
Well, we once again apologize for that particular story. Let's look at another one here. Simon Kachapin has warned illegal commercial gold miners operating in the county to stop saying no contest has been granted for mining activities. Speaking in Kapenguria, he said areas such as Kambikaraya, Lami Nyeusi, Takwel and parts of the Pokot North have experienced unauthorized gold rushes. The governor directed investors to follow due processes through the Ministry of Mining and the county government, noting that the county receives no royalties from the operations. He added that a bill is being drafted to regulate and manage mining activities.
The county government of West Pokot has not been involved in any illegal mining activities in West Pokot. The Mining Act of 2016 is very clear on mining activities. The Ministry of Mining should involve all stakeholders, including the county government, as well as community members, and streamline and establish a structured framework for mining activities in West Pokot County.
More than 250 families from Viwandani town in Nairobi, whose property was razed down in an inferno, have received relief aid. A section of leaders from Nairobi County who visited the affected families called on the national and the county government to train communities on fire safety and speedy response to curb 5 incidents.
250 households were destroyed, including a school. We're going to sit down with the landlords and have a discussion on how we can get them back on track. But in the meantime, what I want to say is we need to be more careful. We need to prevent fires, and we need to do campaigns to prevent fires.
Tumetushughulikia mpaka tumekuja tumepata mahali ya mattress, sabuni, kitu ya kukurakura. Mimi narudisha tu shukrani.
Now here's the latest in the world of business. Kenya is intensifying efforts to secure access to China's apparel consumer market, seeking to tap the country's huge population, currently at 1.4 billion people. Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui says negotiations with Beijing are at an advanced stage, with the initiative set to grant Kenya exporters a duty-free and quota-free access to China's market.
According to United Nations data, Kenya's exports to China totaled under $240 million in 2024, a fraction of the over $8 billion of imports it received from China. The imbalance has translated into a widening trade deficit, with imports from China, largely machinery, electronics and industrial inputs, significantly outpacing exports. In order to bridge this gap, the government says it is crafting an export diversification strategy targeting Europe, Asia and African markets under the African Continental Free Trade Area.
We are also looking at diversifying our export markets into Europe and other markets, and working through the EPZA. We will soon be coming up with a strategy on how to go to the Far East, to Europe, to parts of Asia and also within Africa, noting that the Africa Free Trade Area is now in motion, and Kenya can be the official place where some of the best clothing come from.
With the agreement set to take effect from mid-March, Kinyanjui says the deal will open new opportunities for Kenyan manufacturers, particularly those operating under the Export Processing Zones framework, while strengthening the country's position in global value chains.
Have had extensive negotiations with China, and as it is right now, we have finished what we call the early harvest agreement, and we hope by mid-March we should be signing. And therefore Kenyans who are in the export market will be able to access the Chinese 1.4 billion market, quota-free and tariff-free.
He adds that ongoing policy reviews are aimed at enhancing competitiveness and attracting sustained foreign direct investment.
Changes within the law, both on tax and regulation, to ensure that our industries and our businesses are competitive. And this is all aimed at ensuring that we continue with a sustained inflow of FDI and that our industries can also expand moving into the future.
The warehousing receipt system council wants imports and grains marked for the strategic food reserve included in the receipting system. The council says the regulator is seeking amendments to the Warehousing Receipt System Act to include more imported grain to entrench the receipting systems into the agriculture sector and de-risk grain trade. Now, amendments are also expected to improve capacity by opening up vaccines for inspection personnel.
Need to develop the policy on the gazettement of inspectors, which cannot be done without that act. Number 3 is the opening up of the whatever is warehoused to be not only produced locally, but even what is imported, because we are a net importer. We import maize, we import wheat, we import rice, and those are not covered in the act. So we need to open it up so that if you import, whatever you import can get into the warehouse receipt system.
Put it to more products, that can be covered within the warehouse system, receipt system, and cover more regions. That of course comes now with the budgetary allocation and all that, to ensuring that we have enough to do that.
Now, Kenya's heating, ventilation and air conditioning sector has received a boost following a deal between Toshiba and North Star Cooling Systems, which marks the company's first showroom of its kind in East Africa. The facility will enable developers, engineers and contractors to access modern technologies, technical training and advisory services tailored to the region's needs. The launch comes as Kenya continues to attract investment in real estate and infrastructure driven by rapid urbanization and growing demand for sustainable building solutions.
We have a full-fledged manufacturing facility of ducting, all the contracting requirements for HVAC industry. So we've been doing this for the last 20 years in this market. We are going to manufacture grills and diffuser, which is the first time in East Africa. So that is the step we are moving towards. So we'll be soon launching that as well. So grills and diffusers, that is the terminals which is used for HVAC air distribution systems, which will be doing that.
Now finally, here's the latest in the world of sports. The Kenya Volleyball Federation Men's League is gathering momentum as teams push for early dominance in what is shaping up to be a highly competitive season. Now, Prisons Kenya have surged to the top of the standings after a flawless start to their campaign. The side has won all 4 of their opening matches, collecting a maximum of 12 points to establish a commanding lead at the summit of the table. Their strong performances on court have made them the early title favourites. Hot on their heels are the Kenya Ports Authority volleyball team, who sit second with 10 points. KPA have secured 3 wins from 4 matches and remain firmly in contention as the race for top honours intensifies. Chema Volleyball Club occupy 3rd place while 9 points and remain unbeaten, having won all 3 of their matches so far. At the lower end of the standings, Prisons Rift Valley, the Kenya Army, Kenya Forest Service and Prison Western are working to revive their campaigns after difficult starts to the season. Kenya Forest Service have officially withdrawn from the league due to logistical challenges, a development that has impacted the overall fixture. Elsewhere, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Galatasaray and PSG all secured important wins in their Champions League playoff first leg matches. Now at the Estadio de Luz, Real Madrid claimed a narrow 1-0 over Benfica, with Vinicius Jr. netting a decisive goal in the 54. Maximilian Beer sealed the win at Signo Iduna. Well, the UEFA matches continues this evening, with Karabakh set to take on Newcastle, Bodo Glimt will take on Inter Milan, Club Brugge will take on Atletico Madrid, and finally Olympiacos will take on Bayern Leverkusen. And just a reminder to the United football opposition, set a reminder, the Gunners are playing at the Molineux Stadium at exactly 11 p.m. Hopefully we'll see you there. For now, good afternoon.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the Positive Warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.